Red Bow, Strange Dream is not a game that demands your attention, it waits for it. From the moment it begins, it establishes a quiet, restrained tone that refuses to chase spectacle or urgency. There are no tutorials shouting at you, no dramatic set pieces, no mechanical hooks meant to grab you immediately. Instead, it offers something far more fragile: a mood, a suggestion, a feeling that something is wrong, but not in a way that can be easily explained. This is a game about dreams, fear, desire, and consequence, told through symbolism rather than exposition, and whether it works for you will depend entirely on your willingness to engage with it on those terms. You play as Ro, a young girl trapped inside a dreamlike world that feels both delicate and oppressive. The game provides minimal context for who she is or how she arrived here. There is no opening narration explaining the rules of the world. You are simply placed inside it and expected to observe. This lack of grounding is intentional. Red Bow does not want you to feel secure. It wants you to feel uncertain, unbalanced, and slightly disconnected, much like the feeling of being inside a dream you cannot wake from. The environments are sparse and quiet. Rooms feel staged rather than lived in. Objects appear symbolic rather than functional. Doors lead to places that feel emotionally connected rather than geographically consistent. From the beginning, the game makes one thing clear: logic is secondary to meaning. One of Redbow's defining traits is its commitment to dream logic. Spaces loop back on themselves. Characters appear without explanation. Threats exist more as concepts than as enemies. This is not a horror game in the traditional sense. There are no jump scares, no chase sequences designed to spike adrenaline. Instead, the unease comes from implication, from the sense that the world is responding to something internal rather than external. Dreams often exaggerate emotions while stripping away context, and Red Bow leans into that fully. Fear doesn't announce itself, guilt doesn't confess, desire doesn't justify itself. Everything exists in fragments, and it's up to the player to assemble meaning from them. This approach will either deeply resonate with you or leave you feeling disconnected. Mechanically, Red Bow Strange Dream is extremely light. You move, interact, pick up items, and make occasional decisions. There are no traditional puzzles in the sense of logic gates or mechanical problem solving. Instead, interaction is symbolic. Items exist because of what they represent, not because of what they do. Choices matter not because they alter gameplay dramatically, but because they reflect intent. This minimalist design places the burden of engagement entirely on the player. The game does not entertain through mechanics, it invites reflection. For some players, this creates a deeply personal experience. For others, it risks feeling passive or shallow. Red Bow makes no attempt to meet players halfway, it asks them to slow down and listen. The red bow itself is central to the game's identity. It is not just an accessory or a visual motif, it represents desire, agency, and consequence. Early in the game, you are offered a choice involving the bow. On the surface, it seems harmless, even helpful, but as the dream unfolds, it becomes clear that this choice carries weight. The game explores how wanting something, especially something meant to escape pain, can reshape reality. Wishes are not free, they echo, they distort. The red bow becomes a reminder that even small decisions can define the emotional trajectory of a life, especially when made from a place of fear or loneliness. The characters you encounter in Red Bow do not feel like people in the traditional sense. They speak cryptically. They offer guidance that feels incomplete or misleading. Some appear comforting, others unsettling, but none are fully trustworthy. This is because they are not meant to be literal characters, they are emotional constructs, representations of fear, temptation, denial, or regret. Rather than advancing a plot, these characters reflect internal states. Their dialogue often feels like fragments of thoughts rather than conversations. This design reinforces the idea that the dream world is shaped by Rose emotions, not by external rules. Visually, Red Bow Strange Dream is understated but deliberate. The pixel art style is clean and minimal, avoiding unnecessary detail. The limited color palette is used with purpose. Red is the most striking color in the game, used sparingly to draw attention and convey emotional weight. Backgrounds are muted, often washed out or softened, giving the impression of something half remembered. The emptiness of many environments is not accidental. The game uses negative space to evoke isolation and vulnerability. It understands that absence can be more unsettling than presence. Nothing here is flashy, but everything feels intentional. Sound design in Redbow is subtle to the point of near invisibility. Music fades in quietly, often lingering just long enough to set a mood before disappearing again. Silence dominates much of the experience. Footsteps, ambient noise, and soft environmental sounds create intimacy rather than tension. This restraint allows emotional moments to land without being underlined. When music does swell, it feels earned, not manipulative. The game trusts the player to feel without being told what to feel. Red Bow offers multiple endings, shaped by the choices you make throughout the dream. These endings do not radically change events, but they alter meaning. Rather than providing answers, the endings reframe the experience. They encourage the player to reflect on intent, consequence, and emotional truth. Some players will find this ambiguity powerful, others may find it frustrating. The game does not offer closure in a traditional sense, it offers interpretation. This is consistent with its dreamlike structure, but it also limits its accessibility. The pacing of Red Bow is slow and deliberate. There is no urgency. The game unfolds at its own rhythm and expects the player to follow. This can be meditative, but it can also test patience. If the atmosphere does not immediately resonate, the game offers little in the way of escalation or variety to re engage the player. The short length helps mitigate this, but it also means that the emotional arc has limited room to develop. Some ideas feel fully realized, others feel like sketches rather than complete explorations. Redbow's greatest strength, its restraint, is also its biggest weakness. The minimal gameplay means that player agency is largely emotional rather than mechanical. The narrative depth, while thematically coherent, is thin. Some symbolism feels underdeveloped, and certain character interactions end before they fully explore their implications. Replay value is limited. Once the endings are seen, there is little reason to return beyond appreciation for atmosphere. This is not a game designed to linger mechanically, it lingers emotionally, or not at all. Red Bow, Strange Dream is for players who appreciate symbolic storytelling, emotional ambiguity, quiet, reflective experiences, minimalist design, short, focused indie games. It is not designed for players seeking challenge, action, or narrative clarity. Red Bow, Strange Dream is a small, fragile game that asks for patience and emotional openness. It does not entertain in traditional ways. It does not explain itself. It does not chase mass appeal. Instead, it offers a dream, one shaped by fear, desire, and consequence, and asks you to sit with it. Whether that dream stays with you depends entirely on what you bring into it. Final score 8 out of 10. A quiet, symbolic dream that doesn't demand your attention but rewards it if you give it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this review, leave a like and subscribe for more gaming reviews. See you next time.